Hi, my name is Natalie Chicky, and I'm sitting here with my co-host, Magic Mike Young.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm great.
You're looking terrific.
Thank you.
And this is the first Submerge podcast.
That's right.
And we have...
Aaron Carl for our first interview.
Yeah, you got to talk to Aaron Carl.
That's
exclusively.
Right. That's right. And he came out with this new album called Detrevolution.
Terrific. Okay, we also have an exclusive interview with Ron Murphy, who is the master of mastering, who mastered all the records for most of Detroit's great electronic artists.
Yes, that's right. And then we have Aude Maynor, who is the godfather of Ghetto Tech, as well as the executive of Submerge Recordings.
Yes, and the mastermind behind Electro-Funk Records, as well as Booty Music.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So without any further ado, here's Natalie and Aaron Carl.
Evolution. From the ashes to the clouds, I emerge. A man now stands where a boy once stood, no longer submerged. From the streets of Detroit to a whole new world, a voice they tried to silence can finally be heard. No longer a prisoner in chains, I survived the storm. Through love and pain, I searched within and found my way home. Now it's time to take that road. And while I'm afraid, I pray for strength and continue my journey. My evolution.
We are live and radioactive with Aaron Carl.
Yay!
Aaron has just came out with his new CD, Detrevolution, on Wallshaker Music.
Wallshaker's my label. And basically, I love this damn CD. Woohoo!
This track is called Tears, off the label Subject Detroit. Tears all about?
Tears was one of those songs that I had written that wasn't house, it wasn't techno, it was both. It was like either or. And I didn't really know what to do with it at first. It's like I wrote it and then DJ Bone called me. He was looking for something in mind. I said, you know what? I have the perfect track for you. So I sent him Tears. He fell in love with it. He released it on Subject Detroit. There's version 1 and 2. And I just decided to add it to this album because the fans liked it a lot. So.
You want some more? You know what? I want some more too.
The track that you're listening to right now is Segway 313. Can you tell us a little something about that, Aaron?
Yes, the Segway 313. I sampled a live performance from me in Vienna. It was like the first or the second encore they wanted me to do, and I was so tired and my voice was just almost gone, and I'm like, you want some more? Fuck it, I want some more too, you know, and I just, so I sampled all that. That was cool.
So, when did you start making music and find the love for music?
Professionally or otherwise?
Just otherwise, just when you first started having a love for the tunes.
Girl, birth. For real. You read about my Prince album thing,
yes, I
right?
did, yeah.
You know, I was 5 when that came out, and I used to watch it spin around the turntable. Oh, man. I'm trying to think of what else. What have I said that I have not said already?
I read an article where you said that, you know, you would make your own tunes so you could say that you wrote, composed, arranged, everything.
That was such motivation. I was like, if he can do it, I know I can do it. I have to do it. So yeah, I got my little stacks of books and my little ink pens.
And you were 4 years old then? 5 years old? When did you make your first record?
Official record?
Yeah.
Or you mean just growing up?
Your first record that you pressed on vinyl.
Oh, it's 10 years ago. As a matter of fact, August 29th of 1996 was when my first 2 records came out.
And what were those?
Those were Wash It with Down on the B-side and Crucified. Yes.
That's the jam.
Girl, that song is like a tattoo.
I remember when you played it when you sang live. Was that the first time that you played live in Detroit?
Yeah.
Down at Fuse Inn. Wow.
I'm so used to traveling. It's funny because people knew my records and they knew my name, but didn't know who I was.
Right.
So I could walk up the street and people would be like, who are you?
Right.
The funny part about that record, though, is people thought it was a girl at first. And then I overheard a radio interview. I think it was on JLB, where he was like, a guy was singing the song and another one was like, you know, that's a guy, don't you? And the guy was like, so what? You know, the song is hot. And he kept singing it. And I just thought, wow.
How did that make you feel?
I felt like at that moment, I felt like I crossed over.
You crossed over? What do you mean?
Well, because I used to make songs just for myself. And Down was one of those accidents where it was the last song on a cassette tape, and Mike heard a piece of it. Mike Banks heard it and was like, what's that? And I was like, oh, it's just nothing. You don't want to hear this. Leave it alone. But when he heard it, he just flipped and was like, we're going to sneak this on the record just to see what kind of reaction people get.
Right.
Because the record is out there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the lyrics and everything, talking about going down on people. And so I really didn't think that straight people would even take to the record.
Were you just making the music for gay people, or did you think that it was just...
I was making it for me.
Right.
Really.
Because people have a tendency of thinking that, you know, techno or house music is
gay music.
And
that's what I thought it was when I first discovered it, because I was in a gay club. When I heard it, I never heard anything like it anywhere. So I always thought, you know, ooh, house music, gay music. And I felt good about it until straight people started coming to the clubs and enjoying the music. So it's like, okay, it's everybody's music.
Yeah, music's right. Kind of universal like that.
Well, you know, the message in the songs are, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, you know, whoever you are, come as you are, come and dance, which is cool. So it's not gay music, it's music.
Well, I wanna go down on you. If it's the last thing that I do, well, I wanna go down on you. You make me shit.
The track that you've been listening to is Miracles, featuring Timothy Gay. Aaron, can you tell us about your new album, Detrevolution?
Well, Detrevolution is my third official CD.
That's this new one?
Yeah, that's this one here. I'm most proud of this CD because if you've listened to my stuff over the years, you can hear how the sound gets a little better. The songs get a little tighter, and like with Detrevolution, I'm not going out I'm not coming out like, oh, I'm gay, listen to me. I've evolved from that. You know what I mean? I'm like a mature artist now, so I don't have to prove my point. I can just, sing.
Right. When was the first time you heard your music played? Like, when was it? Like, what were you doing? Where were you at? And how did it make you feel?
Oh my God. I got a call I was at home. I got a call from a club owner. My song Wash It, had been circulating. And she called my house and she said, you know you have a hit record on your hands, don't you? And I'm like, no, no. Now this is a lesbian club. So I'm thinking she wanted to whoop my ass because I'm talking about, washing the coochie, blah, blah, blah. But they loved the song. And so I was on my way to the club, get out the car, and someone is driving by playing Wash It. And I was just like, oh my God, that's me. So that was cool.
And that was back in 90.
That was in 96. Yeah.
Can you tell me about the Club Heaven? The Club Heaven that you used to get in there. You were underage?
I was 16.
What were you doing in there?
Dancing. Because I used to sneak into the club. Well, Heaven was on top of another club. And I would go to the club downstairs. It was called the gas station. And when the gas station was over, we would just run upstairs and go to this Club Heaven.
Where was that at?
7 Mile and Woodward. It's not there anymore. I mean, the whole building is gone now. I think it's a McDonald's over there or something. But, yeah, girl, it's like night and day. The gas station catered to, mostly white, suburban, you know what I'm saying, the top 40, blah, blah, blah. But then you go upstairs to Heaven, and it was like, drag queens kicking all over the place, and the music you could just feel all of that. And it was nothing you had ever heard on the radio. It wasn't a remix. It wasn't, top 40 anything. It was just some stuff that you really couldn't hear anywhere else.
What kind of DJs were in there? Was all house DJs?
Yes.
All house DJs? Did they come from around the world, or were they from Detroit as well?
I know Ken Collier was there. And I know there was another one, but he was the only one that I remember. Because I ran up to the DJ booth and I asked him, what is this music? What is this? And this was, it was JD's Plastic Dreams. And this was 1989. It was like 2 years before it hit mainstream. So when the song came on, everybody, the lights went red, and everybody, it just looked like one big wave of people just dancing. And I will never, ever, ever, ever forget that moment. I was like, fuck that. I'm going to the DJ booth right now. And the DJ booth was way up there, so it's like I had to go all the way, And when I found him, I just asked him, what is this? What is this music?
When did you start DJing?
It was almost around the same time, actually. It was around 96. And it kind of happened by accident. I had my little CD release party at this club. And they just asked me one day, oh, would you like to come and DJ? And I'm thinking it's just for a week. Sure, I'll do it. Next thing I know, that was my job every week. This was, everything kind of happened at one time. It's like the CD came out, then I got signed to Submerge or Soul City, and then I started traveling. So it's like when I wasn't in Detroit, I was in some other country performing. But when I was here, I would DJ.
When you were in Detroit, you DJ, but when you were in other countries, you actually performed the very songs that...
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
What's even more interesting is the fact that I was dumbfounded. The first time I went over to France, and they knew my songs. And to watch, like to stand on stage, you know, I was trying so hard to be a diva. I was trying. And so I'm on stage and I'm singing, and I look out and these French people who don't even speak English are singing my songs. And I was just like, oh my God. I just felt so, that was one of them out-of-body things. Yeah, woo.
And that was in France. That was the first place that you went to overseas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Cannes. It was myself, Aux 88, the Burton brothers. We all kind of went together and we, you know, performed and whatnot. I met Carl Craig over there, which is weird because he's from here. Detroit. I do that. I met Claude Young. I was in Spain. You know, a lot of these people I've met in other countries.
Wow.
Weird.
I wanna dance with you. From Detroit to Japan.
Can I keep it real with y'all? Yeah. This is a true story. I know some of y'all feel me. I know some of y'all don't. But right now, it don't even matter. Cause this is real. This is real life. And some of y'all just don't understand. And you're not gonna understand. Not unless you've been there. Check this out. Times are lean, but the bills just keep on coming. Times are lean, but the bills just keep on coming. Every time my phone rings, I swear I just feel like running. I need money. A whole lot of money, y'all. That little green miracle to make everything alright. Cause I gotta put food on the table without them shutting off the lights. I take my baths in cold water now, cause they done shut off the damn gas. Take my bath in cold water, y'all, cause they done shut off the damn gas. I gotta hold on till payday, but my check is gone before it's even cashed. Hey, I need money, a whole lot of money, y'all. That pedigree miracle to make everything alright. Cause I gotta put food on the table without them shutting off the lights. Oh.
The song you were just listening to was Broke Down Blues. Aaron, can you tell us a little something about that track?
Let me tell you, I was going through a very dry spell, money-wise. I mean, they were threatening to shut off the lights and the gas and, everything. And I was just like, I had to get it out. Oh, yeah.
Hard times.
It was a hard moment.
Okay, I wrote this one quote that you put. It says, unfortunately, the house scene is still underground, where R&B is mainstream. Why do you think that it's bad that house music and electronic music is underground?
Because it deserves to be mainstream. If you go to France, or if you go to any other country except this one, you hear house music on the radio. And I mean, people who are here who would normally never listen to it are the same people who dance to it over there. So you got old ladies walking down the street, humming house music, and it's like, wow. This is what I would dream about. So to actually go to another country and see it and live it, it's just like, wow.
That's different, because here you see people singing lyrics from songs. But then if you're hearing a house track or even jazz music without words, what do you think the difference is with that? Do you think it has an effect on the people? Because house music doesn't really have that much words in it. Neither does techno. It's just music.
True, and I think that's the important part about it. I know what moved me. It was really simple. And I don't even know what to call it besides the spirit of it. It's just, you get overwhelmed. I mean, it's nothing but a bass beat or, a kick drum, maybe a bass line and some chords. But that's enough.
Why do you think mainstream radio in America plays so much words all the time?
Because I think it's less about the music. I think that most mainstream stuff is just about, commercial stuff. I'm trying to put it in the right words here. I think it's more about, like, money versus just the music. I know I felt really different. Like, I stopped listening to the radio. I don't listen to the radio much today at all. But I will go to a club and, stand in front of the speakers.
Right. This track is called For the Money. Aaron, can you tell us what that's all about?
For the money. Now we're talking about the booty. As in booty music. For the Money is one of those hybrid records again. It's one of those electro, kind of techno, kind of booty. It's a sit back and chill record. And I sampled myself going, do it for the money. And you can figure out whatever that is that you were doing for the money, but basically it's just a chill song.
You're listening to Sky, the Bill Sticker Dub remix. You have some blogs.
I do.
I read them.
And I tell all my business, girl.
What's your favorite blog that you rate? Do you like your Aaron Carl at myspace.com or do you like your Aaron Carl blogger? Which one do you?
I like the blogger, the Revelations of Aaron Carl. I love that one because it's not so much, Aaron Carl, the singer or the producer. It's the person. And it's kind of funny because, like, the comments that I get from that, people are like, wow, this is a real person here. Versus, hey, come check out my new record coming out, blah, blah, blah.
Right. So when you're going overseas and you have these blogs and, your fans are reading them, is it causing you to get mobbed or anything? Or is there a different, like, sort of respect overseas than here?
Yes and no. Yes, I do get mobbed, so to speak, but I'm not the type of person to run away from that, which is really weird. I mean, I don't know if it's because I'm a Leo or it's because I missed one too many hugs as a child. I don't know. But I would get off the airplane, and people will go, oh, AC, and I'll stop. I won't run. I will stop. I will turn around, hey, how y'all doing? You know, I love that. And then for someone to say, you know, yeah, I read your blog last week and that's a shame what happened. And I'm so glad you're here. You know what I'm saying? I love that because I feel like we're connected in a way.
Right. So, where is your favorite place to perform?
Wow. It used to be France. I loved France, and every time I go, it just got better and better. But Vienna, Austria, it is amazing. And I don't know if it's because it's me or if this is just how they are. But everyone was real, you know, they were all super nice, and they didn't really bother you. It's like they respected you, they appreciated you, you know, they supported you, but when you needed that downtime, if you just want to walk to the store, they'll leave you alone.
What do you think of Detroit and the support and the love here? Like how everything's changed?
I'm getting accustomed to it, which is crazy to say being born and raised up here. But like I said, I'm so used to being overseas and not performing here. I would say I performed more here this year than I ever have in my career, period. So now, you know, I'm getting the recognition that I wanted to get when I first started here. Which is cool. It's cool. Because I kind of earned the respect a little bit. The little kids look at me like I'm old. Oh, you've been around 10 years, Grandpa. But you know, I'll be standing in line at the club and not thinking, because I am in Detroit, you know, not thinking, oh, I'm just at the club. And somebody will come walking up the street, Aaron Carl. Hey. So no, it's cool.
You're now listening to the Aaron Carl remix of Sky. You wrote Sky for your father that passed away. Can you tell me about that?
Okay, my father, he got killed in Cass Corridor back in '87, like 3 days before Christmas, and it's something that I had never really gotten over. I think it's different when someone dies, when they're old age and they live their life, but it's another thing when someone just comes and takes the life away.
Right.
So I never really knew how to get those feelings out. I wrote poetry and whatever, but it didn't help until I wrote the song Sky. And Sky just kind of came, just out of nowhere. So, and it's kind of, because that's one of my, a lot of people respect that record. It's a shame I had to write it, but, I'm glad that it touches people in that way. I remixed it because, it was out with remixes a couple years ago. And I finally revamped it because I just lost my mother. Terrence Parker did a version. Parada Head did a phenomenal, oh my God, girl. His version. I mean, if mine was on this level, his just took it way over the mountain.
Oh, Parada's talented.
Girl, oh my God, I just cried. He called me up and said, Aaron, I'm crying. I gotta do this remix for you. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't know why, but here. And he sent me this draft, the draft version, and just his arrangements and the way he did everything, it was just like, wow. Whatever I wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? He just reached inside of me and tweaked it and did something. It's amazing, girl.
Darkened skies, baby cries. Oh, yeah.
We've been listening to the track Ghetto Life. Can you tell us what that means to you?
Ghetto life, that kind of symbolizes where I came from. The song is basically, I mean, it says, you know, there's nothing pretty about living a ghetto life. People like to glorify it, you know, oh, I'm from the hood, so I'm real, or I'm authentic, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're from the hood. So what? You know, are you proud of that? Get out of the hood, make something, do something. So that's what this song is saying. You know, why are you trying to glorify it? It's not pretty living in the ghetto.
We're listening to Friday Night Fire. What were you feeling when you made it?
Oh, wow. Friday Night Fire is one of those songs that you just have fun with it. It's not about anything.
It's just a jam.
But it's just this funky little disco house thing. And even when I was writing the words, I didn't know what to write. I just heard a melody in my head. And I was like, what the hell am I going to say to fill in that blank? So it may not, you know, I had to like piece some stuff together to make it make some sense. But it's one of those songs where it really doesn't matter what you say. It's just, yeah. Drown this anger, kill this stranger. I'm in danger, kill this stranger.
This track you just heard was My Stranger. You are now listening to Switch Circuit Mix. So, Aaron, what was the first place that you played that left you awestruck?
Girl, it was the very first. Well, I have a couple of them, but the very first one was my very first performance outside of Detroit. I was down in South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, and Wash It had made it to #1 of their charts down there. And I went down and I performed, and I had on this little leather jacket, and I had on the white pants with the ass cut out like Prince did.
Oh my God.
Girl.
Oh my goodness.
And I was up on stage, and what freaked me out is they knew the song. You have to remember, I was not used to this. I had no clue. So I'm standing on stage and I'm singing, the song, Watch the Coochie Honey. And then I put the mic out and you hear them all go, Ivory. It's like, wow. So I was fascinated by that. And then I just, I didn't have any dancers. It was just me on the stage. So when I turned around and lifted up my little jacket and they saw my ass hanging, I was like, oh my God. Oh, but wait, I got to tell you about my second one.
Okay.
And this one is a little, it's a bit more emotional. I was over in Vienna, and I had performed. I'm used to doing sets 1-2 hours. Well, this particular set, I did it from midnight until 5 o'clock in the morning. That every time I stopped, they would just scream, we want more and more and more. And I'm thinking, the place has to close down. We got to go home. But the more they wanted it, the more I wanted to give it to them. I ran out of records. They wanted me to sing, or they wanted Crucified, so I grabbed the microphone and I sang Crucified at 5:30 in the morning, a cappella, and they loved it. So after, that was it. So when I got back to my little, my little spot I was staying, I just cried. I was like, I don't believe they just like me that much. Oh my God. That was another defining moment, I suppose.
You're listening to Hateful, the UR instrumental. What are you looking forward to for the future of Detroit electronic music and Detroit music in general?
The future of it? Wow, actually, I'm looking. There has to continue to be a future. If that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. I will be 33 this year, people. But when I started, I was 21. 21. But I was the baby. People now, they're mid-40s, almost 50. And pretty soon, naturally, they're going to, retire, die off, do whatever. And I'm just hoping that the music doesn't die when they stop. So I'm all about teaching younger kids or teaching other people how to continue this cycle of music, which, truthfully, It doesn't even have to be. I mean, it would be nice to keep Detroit on the map. But I guess for someone who has been, to so many different other countries and this and that and the other, it's like Detroit is one spot on a big ass map.
Right.
So if for some odd reason Detroit music dies, which I don't think it will, so I'm not even going to go there, but if for some odd reason it does, there will still be an underground. House music is not going nowhere. Electronic music, I think that's just kind of all we had. I mean, just like, the way techno kind of came about, we weren't saying, let's create a new genre of music and call it techno. We were trying to make house. We were trying to make house music, and that's just what it sounded like because that's what we had. That's kind of where our sound came from. It came from in here, it came from within, and whatever you had, you just utilized it. I mean, I remember, like I told you, when I was younger, I was making music with books and ink pens. I got a keyboard and a little 4-track, and I made Down and Crucified and other stuff like that. You know what I mean? I made it work, whatever it was. Even today, my home studio kind of looks like this. Kind of looks like this area in my in my basement. I have my computers, I have my hardware set up, but it's so different when you walk into, say, a big name studio or whatever, and you have the mixing board that goes all the way across the wall, and the vocal room with the, with the microphone coming from the ceiling. You don't need all that to create or to get what you have to get out. You don't need all that. Well, it's kind of hard to answer that because I've never been on that side of the tracks. And I think that if I had that stuff, I would just go bananas. And Mike Banks even told me, that was one of his reasons for signing me in the first place, is because I took nothing and made hit records.
Thank you so much, Aaron, for coming out and doing the interview with us. You can find Aaron Carl's music at Submerge.com and DetroitDigitalVinyl.com.
This is John McNish of The Plan, telling you keep it right, keep it tight, right here in your source for Detroit Techno, DetroitDigitalVinyl.com.